Call this meeting of the Monuments and Ceremonies Commission to order at 3:30 on May 14th, although the weather doesn't feel like May 14th. Okay, we have enough commissioners here, so we have a quorum. Everything we do is legal and above board. Let's first take a look at the minutes of the April meeting, which are included in the package you have, which is double-sided to save paper.
You fixed your name, Alan.
Okay.
I fixed your name to be two
I
L's.
have one L.
One for one and two for the other, okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so, hey,
Hello, Lucy.
nice to see you. Lucy.
Grab a chair.
Yeah, okay, pull it right in here. Okay, we're just looking over the minutes from the last meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, so do we have a motion to accept the minutes of the April meeting?
I so moved.
Terry moves that. Somebody want to second that? Rob? Any discussion?
That's me.
No, that's, yours, to us, you're still the correct name, Rob. Okay.
I just have a
All right.
quick comment.
yeah.
Before we vote on it.
Yep,
So what was said in the minutes was the finale on June 12th. That was a tentative date. We're,
Right.
Getting together with the high school to see what's available as far as the auditorium. It may be the 13th or so.
okay.
It says the 12th, but that is a tentative date. But when you wrote it down, you said the 12th, so
Yeah.
you could vote and accept the minutes. I just want to clarify that.
All right.
It's on the third paragraph. It says end with the finale on June 12th. That is a
Oh,
temporary
okay,
date until we
it
get-
should be the 13th.
Yeah,
Well, no,
on June 12th.
It's
It's- that's tentative, that's approximate.
Because
Okay.
we're
Yes, all right,
getting in touch with the high school auditorium and other things.
okay,
Not a problem.
Yeah, it says still in the early stages.
yes.
We can
okay.
amend that.
I
So,
mean,
anything else on that, on the minutes that need a correction or a noted? If not, all in favor of accepting the minutes, so show. Thank you. Anybody opposed, abstaining? Done. Minutes are accepted. Let us move on. What happened?
Just ignore me.
Just ignore.
I know.
You're sort of tall, I mean, it's hard to.
It's hard.
All right. Let's next go on to the Veterans Sign Committee progress, and Lucy can report on that and let us know what's going on.
Great. Things are moving along, which is great. I'm sorry that the name of our committee was misnamed in the article. When I sent that in, it was kind of in draft form, and the newspaper writer didn't even think it would go in that week. She was going away, and I don't know how it got in so quickly, so it didn't really go through the regular vetting process. I
Okay.
guess they were so excited about having it in, they're like, whoop, there you go. So I've had a few people text me or say that's great, and they plan to come. The date is set for the ceremony at 12 noon on Sunday the 26th.
Okay.
And I've been in touch with Ed Gentile, Public Works, said he'd be happy to put the signs in. He's just trying to get his hands on them right now, and we've been emailing back and forth. So they got shipped to where signs go, he just has to get them.
Okay. And the bill came in.
Okay, good.
We
And
got a bill for you.
so you just take a
So
quick look at
he's-
at
I know that they've been sent.
Yeah, and tell me
He
if it's
just has to get
correct.
his hands on it.
If it's correct,
I need my glasses.
then correct, just sign off on it and give it right to Sue, because Sue
Okay.
will pay, because we agreed to pay for that.
That is
All right.
awesome.
Just checking.
Let's see.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right, so just initial
Sign
it
somewhere?
someplace, yeah, and then if we just pass that down to Sue Ann, so she has that in her possession.
Okay. Right now I'm putting together a ceremony schedule for the speakers that we'll have there. Jamie is planning to come. We have the proclamation written and signed and all prettied up, and so she'll talk about how excited we are to have this program in Darien and read her proclamation. Then somebody from Chick's family is going to speak. And I thought I might just say a few words as a teacher in town. And then I'm going to ask a student to read a piece of poetry that they've written about how important our veterans are to us.
Good.
And
Did we invite any larger officials, statewide officials, or only county?
no, so I wanted to talk about that. And all the selectmen are invited. The office asked me for the details, and I've been working on that to give them. How
And the
do we
head
go?
of the VFW?
That would be great, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
What's his
Lenny
name?
Hunter.
Yeah.
And invite him and let him know that it's happening. They just had a meeting
Yeah.
last week. Don't know, I didn't mention it, I was at the meeting, but I didn't mention it. And then, do you think we should invite the local,
I'm
the state
asking.
legislators?
I don't have an opinion, I'm just asking.
Should the state
Will they be
legislators?
annoyed if we don't ask them? I don't know what protocol.
It's a busy weekend and stuff and everything else, but we shouldn't assume that for them. So maybe just ask the 6 or whatever it is, or 5 that are around, or that might be around, state senators and whatever.
So who?
So,
You don't have the 06820 email address? I don't think I've sent you that. I'll send you something. You send me what you want me to send them, and I'll send it out.
That sounds great.
okay. Yeah,
Because I've got them all listed now, so.
Awesome. Isn't that-
yeah, that might be a good opportunity for them, so we may as well, do that at least. All right, and then, and it's got the information in the newspaper, everybody knows about it now, so they know when it's
And
gonna
it'll
be
go
there.
in again, right?
You know,
They'll
it'll,
put it-
they might put it in, yeah, they might put it in again.
She said that they would run another article because I was unhappy
Right.
that the picture wasn't there.
Right.
Because I sent in a
Okay.
picture also.
All right, so people know it's May 26th, 12 noon at the corner of
Oh,
Fairfield and West.
Just-
No,
No,
Chestnut,
Chestnut.
because
Chestnut, okay.
originally we said west, but,
Too busy.
yeah, Sharon pointed out that it'd be much better to have it
It's still on there.
on the
Okay,
dead end.
Corner
so
of
it's
Fairfield
the
and
corner of
Chestnut.
Fairfield and Chestnut. So those listening, that's where the ceremony is
Yeah.
going to be, to recognize the veterans sign.
where? Corner?
Fairfield and Chestnut.
Oh, okay.
And one more thing, I've been talking with the police department about whether or not we need police presence. And I'm going to speak with Captain Anderson tomorrow to follow up. They said as long as people only park on one side and vehicles could still get in and out, emergency vehicles, that
Right.
we should be okay with no police presence.
Right.
I asked about borrowing those little signs that say no parking on this side of the street. He said, that's a very good question. So they're going to get back to me tomorrow. Otherwise, it is a 4-hour minimum for police presence
Right.
at $68 an hour,
Mhm.
plus 8%. And,
Okay.
and I said, oh, maybe somebody wants to volunteer their time. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think we run with hoping that doesn't have to happen the
Yeah.
first time. And if it ends up that it's a problem, of course, every street corner is going to be different. If it runs that it's a problem, then we can deal with it after that, I mean, after the fact.
Is it going to be installed and you just come and?
Yes.
Okay,
Cool.
so it'll
Very
be
cool.
there. It's
It'll
not
already
like
be there.
We're not going to watch them. put it
No,
up.
No,
They're-
that's great.
they'll install it the week before.
So that corner,
Okay.
Fairfield's a
awesome.
dead end. So the concern about people congregating, if they favor the dead end, it won't be an issue as far as traffic's concerned.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So this one should be an easier one. than this.
That's what I said too, and the police officer was so nice. He said, what you have to consider are the cars that are going to be parked. He said, that's probably your main thing.
Perfect
Right.
places at dead end.
Right.
Awesome.
Okay.
And that's it. That was a lot, though.
This came in, thank you very much. This came in
Yes.
to the main office here, so this is another nomination.
Wow.
Come on in if you're,
Hi.
My name is Ceremonies.
Yes.
yes,
Hello.
this is it. Come on in. Are you Loren?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
pull up a
hello.
chair. Somebody make room there for another member on the side here. This is Loren Gomez, and she's a
Grab a chair.
New member.
new member, new full member,
Welcome.
so glad to see
Hi.
you. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Glad to
We were
see you
just in the
too.
middle of
Thank
a little bit of stuff about our veteran sign program.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just do a real quick around the table here. Everybody, to your left, we have Alan Miller. He's the chairman of the subcommittee on 2020 celebrations. We have Ken Reese, Okay, longtime member of this commission and chief historian for the Darien Historical Society. Jim Long, veteran and member of this committee. Sue Ann Shore, another veteran, another member of this committee. Terry Gaffney, vice chairman of the committee and also chairman of the parade. We have Alan Bixler, Vietnam veteran and member of this committee. Raleigh Hollop. Okay, there's a joke there, but that we'll get to.
That's
an inside
Okay,
joke.
anyway, Air Force veteran of Vietnam and also a member of this commission. Pardon me, I'm saying committee. My wife Karen, she's the secretary of the committee. This is Lucy. Commission, rather. This
I
is
was on it when it was a
Lucy
committee.
Berry, who is the chairman of the Veterans Sign Committee, and Rob Hulick, who is also a member of our commission, and Rebecca Siciliano, also a member of our commission. So we have many commission members here today, and my name is Dave Pollitt, and I am the chairman of the commission. And welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to meet you all.
Good to meet you,
and
too.
find out where I'm supposed to park. So, thank you.
It's tough. It's tough up
Well,
there.
I used to be an employee here, so I went to the employee parking, and then I realized I had to switch all the way around. So
Right.
I'm very sorry about that.
Yeah, it
but
gets tight on.
See, we can go
on-
to the elderly.
We can go in the open. It gets tight in the afternoons. So you have this one that
Okay,
just
we'll
came
take a
in,
look,
and
yeah.
that's an interesting one, and we won't get into the discussion on that yet, but it's a great one that he put in there, and I'm really thrilled that he did. So at your next committee meeting,
sorry.
we can talk about
I got
that. So let us do this, since there are no questions on the Veterans Sign Committee progress, and we've had that explained. I welcome all of you to attend that day at 12 noon, and hopefully we get a good turnout from our commission and the subcommittee members and such for this really landmark day where we're starting to do this in Darien. I think it's going to be great. 2020 committee report. Alan Miller, kick that off.
I mean,
Go ahead.
yeah, so we've got 13 people on the committee now, but we're up to about 20 people for volunteers and committee members, so we're growing. We've had 4 official meetings. We're well represented by different town organizations. Those 20 people I've broken them up into teams. So there's a bunch of teams. The most important ones, I guess, are sponsorship and community outreach. There's a team for the Wheat Beach Party. There's a team for the opening ceremony, which Jim is heading up. One for historical markers, of course, which Ken is on and Jim is on also. And for the anniversary or closing ceremony. We really are done with the logo, and I saw a preview of it, was 99% done when I saw it. And Maggie saw it, and we are all in for it. It looks really, really good. I'm really happy with it. We're going to meet hopefully next week with the 3 high school kids that actually designed the logo. Sarah Nina. She was kind of overseeing them, and we also had a graphic designer kind of help out, but it really was all of the kids' design. So we're going to meet with the kids and Jamie Stevens next week.
Good.
Right after that, there'll be a press release with it, and then a press release also about the whole 2020 festivities. We decided on 3 everyday direct mailings, EDDMs, advertising all the events that we're going to have. One's going to be in the fall, then there's going to be 2 more early 2020. There'll also be a flyer in the Parks and Recs fall bulletin that they have out. So that's for everyday direct mailing. We do have a printer that we decided on. We're trying to secure funding now for that. I know we got $5,000 from starting in July, but some very, very good news. We had a matching donation of $5,000 from an anonymous sponsor.
Great.
She wants to be
that's
anonymous
That's wonderful.
now. Yeah, we were very happy to get that, so that was good news, an extra $5,000. For the historical markers, we went to 2 manufacturers. One requires 15 minimum, and then 2 more as a kind of a map. And I liked the other design, which I showed the design for the other manufacturer, so I'll get a quote from him possibly by the end of this week. So that's moving along very good. I talked to Jeremy Ginsburg of Planning and Zoning, and all we have to do as far as zoning is concerned is to go to the site. There's about 10 or 12 sites, I guess we're up to now.
How many of them are town-owned? How many, they're not owned?
The cemeteries are town-owned, the school is town-owned, the park, Tilly Pond Park is town-owned. But as far as zoning, right, there's a church, and then a couple of private ones. And most of them are town-owned. But he said, just go to the site, put a stake in the ground where you want it to be, take a picture, and I'll have it for you in
Okay.
like a couple of weeks as far
That's
as the
great.
permit is concerned. So that's good. And that's it. We're working on the opening and closing ceremony. Opening probably last week in March, and the closing probably a week after the beach ceremony. So we didn't want to have the beach ceremony and the closing on the same weekend.
Okay.
So we'll have them like a week later. And that's about it.
That's
Things
great.
are moving along.
And you got Ken you've got Ken as far as the actual markers and stuff
Yeah,
for
and
oversight
Jim.
on that, and
Jim's
Jim
the
and Rob.
opening.
Yeah,
And Rob is
Maggie,
actually.
Maggie is
yeah.
going to, from the Historical Society, gather the graphics, whatever photographs or pictures are needed or something, and she's going to use the history of Darien as a guide,
Okay.
in essence, because we basically vetted and took the best stuff that we could
Right.
get our hands on for that. So, and then she will run it, I'll be up in Maine, but she'll run them past me as her.
Yeah,
This
and
is
you-
actually one of the, if you want to take a look, this is actually one of the designs they used it for Connecticut Art Walk, which they did.
That's really nice.
Alan, if we could catch up.
That's-
Yeah, Ross,
that's
I'm
really
sorry.
It
handsome.
looks like my email address was wrong for the first
Oh.
couple distributions.
Okay.
So we should just catch up so I can
Okay,
pitch in
great.
here. in any way
Okay,
that is
absolutely,
helpful. Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, some writing on it.
Do you want to give me your email?
Sure, I can give it to
All
you.
sorts of text.
Let's catch up
Afterwards.
offline and we'll
Okay,
make sure I can
good.
pitch in.
That's great, and when you get to the point where you've got the actual ones you're gonna do, with the actual text and such, and visuals and stuff you're gonna use for ours, okay, it's not a big deal to bring them in here, just to bring us up to date, okay?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
Ken can bring them with him at one point during a meeting, I mean, unless there's some terrific objection, which I don't think you're gonna get from our group. This
What's
is
the
the kind of
lead
thing that we've
time?
been trying to do forever here.
Al, do you know what the lead time
No.
is between
That's
when you
pretty
sign
cool.
off on the
That would be
graphics
great.
and when they?
Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, it's gonna be
Produce the
great.
sign?
Then you have some.
Probably
I
about
love it. It's a
5 weeks or
good
so,
feature.
5 or 6 weeks maybe, I think. That was the other manufacturer gave me that. This manufacturer will get back to me this week, but if it's about the same, he said about 5 weeks.
Okay.
So it's not.
Any
bad.
other questions for Alan from anybody in the commission on 2020? I want to thank you and your committee for all the work that you've done so far and all the meetings that you've been having. I've been watching some of them on TV. And, thank you very much for putting the time and the effort into it and for bringing in more people.
Yeah, I think we
see
got a
that-
really good.
I noticed,
Yeah.
I noticed the fellow from the development that's going on at the end of Post Road there.
Nick
Darien
Fletcher.
Fletcher, the Nick has come in, and he was there at the meeting last time. He's a wonderful guy. And they've really got a good vision for what they want to do on that campus.
Yeah.
So I'm thrilled that he's involved with it, and also the Masons and David and a few of the other guys that are involved. So this is great stuff. Thank you very much. Cemetery Committee update. Did we just have a note from her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tracy couldn't come, and neither could Sharon, so she sent along.
Okay, so at the back of our minutes, you have just a quick report. Earth Day with the Masonic Club has been rescheduled to June 8th. That's where they meet in the morning at 10 o'clock at the lodge for coffee and assignments. Then they will hit, depending upon the number of people that they get that turn out, as many local cemeteries to clean up as they can. They anticipate headstone cleaning to be on the agenda because it'll also be nicer weather, and I think Andrew Malilla will be able to do it then. And they're thanking us for generously allowing the commission to access some money from our account. She's working with Costello Landscaping over the next few weeks and several of the properties that had tree damage. She arranged to have them leave the debris for the town to pick up, which allows for better use of resources. Ongoing work includes the usual regular maintenance on properties cleared over the last few years, beginning with headstone cleaning and repair as able. Slauson to focus on the Bell headstone repairs. You know that Mrs. Bell's headstone is down, all right? And beginning research for a new fence along the property line with the restaurant parking lot on the road and river. So they're doing a lot of work down at the end of where Stanford and Darien meet, where the Road and River Graveyard is. So it's like a war zone there now. So when you drive there, you can't even drive up the street there. And if you do, your car goes like this. So that's a problem, but they're still able to get into the cemetery. Slauson did have a tree come down in it, did damage some headstones, big tree, so the town has to take care of getting that out of there. That's a major problem in Slauson, but I'm sure they'll get to it. If not, I will make a phone call or two and see what we can do from that. Okay.
David?
Yep.
One comment.
Mhm.
The cleanup on June 8th, that's the same weekend that 95 is going to be closed in both directions at exit 9. 'Cause
Really?
they're moving the bridges in
Oh,
place.
they're moving the bridges?
So, I
Well,
don't know how you're, it
they're
might
only
be-
gonna meet on, it's gonna be tough to get there then, so
Yeah.
people should leave early, okay? And bring bicycles, so you can, no, I'm
Yeah,
only kidding.
that'd be a good
Uh,
idea.
Yeah, no, there's always something in this state, especially with roads repairing and such. It's a good point, right? It'll probably bollocks up the
The
post road.
The New
Yeah.
Road site, yeah.
Display case, we have, I believe the Mather Center is in there now,
Yes.
Yes.
okay? All right, so then we have somebody coming in.
Everybody's coming in all the way through January when it becomes the
2020.
2020 committee.
Okay.
No,
No?
we're in March.
You're in March?
Yeah, so I got a clarification from
Okay.
Linda that
Okay.
we're actually in March, which is good, because that's when the official opening is.
Okay, so we'll just find somebody for January and February then. That's
Okay.
okay. That's easy.
Yeah, we haven't set that schedule yet. So
Okay.
I'm glad that we're out that far, though.
Yeah, we had 2020 in for January.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they're gonna be in March. That's better for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you.
It is better, yeah.
It's
First,
closer
we
to-
were told January, and then
Right.
I think Linda said, no, it's March, so somebody along the way
That's fine.
changed it.
I would think if you're kicking off in March, I would think February would be a better month than March would be. Just a thought.
Maybe you change it, nobody change it.
Nobody changed it.
Oh,
No, somebody
So
else.
what you have to do is you have to.
Because I have it all the way
Becky's the chairman
through,
of that
Okay.
display
The
case,
first-
so work through Becky.
Okay.
The first celebratory month, in other words, when we're celebrating something that happened, is April, which is why it's
Oh.
kicking off in March.
Okay, I thought it was the other way around, I thought it was March, okay.
Well, January this year was Middlesex genealogy, and the DCA had it in February, and I know they'd be happy to just do it again. So if you don't need it, let me know, okay?
March is great.
Okay.
All right, but do all your, through one
Yes,
person, all right?
absolutely.
She's the one,
Okay.
keeper of the books.
Right,
Yeah.
That's
okay.
it.
Do you
No
have
matter
my,
what they
do
say
you have
to
my
me.
email?
No.
Okay, anything else on the display case? We're looking for more groups, obviously, anybody out there who's listening who is a nonprofit that wants to work, wants to have a display in our display cases. In September, we'll start to take the bookings for 2020, all right?
And the application is downstairs
Yep.
by the receptionist desk.
Right. So, okay, Flag Day ceremony, so it's not too soon to think about that, huh? All right, June 14th is a Friday this year. I went into the office just now and I spoke to the secretary and I said, normally we do this in the afternoon at 4:30 because then people are done with work and they can get there. And we do the Flag Day ceremony. The Flag Day ceremony is a pretty concise, nicely done ceremony. People have done it before here. For instance, I think Terry did it last year. And we will get cooperation from the VFW. They will send their guys, a couple of guys over to help fold the flags and such. And I will send out over the next week or two a copy of the Flag Day ceremony to everybody so you have it in your possession so you see what the process is. Normally what happens is we meet in front of a town hall at the Veterans Circle, and everybody in town is invited. And we have our Flag Day ceremony, okay, which is a short scripted ceremony which entails retiring an older flag from the pole and then replacing it with a newer flag symbolically and out with the old and with the new. And then there is also a collection going on being spearheaded by Terry Wood and her office, and they have requested places to put boxes to collect old flags where you can bring them in and then we will properly dispose of them. And I believe the places are post office, VFW, and the town hall are the three places that she's going to be putting those collection boxes. I already have a collection box full in my garage. The ones that I've taken are picked up over the years. So keep that in mind. It will be June 14th, which is a Friday, 4:30. And I just asked, what I did ask was that the secretary in the main office put that on the selectmen's calendar so that they
So it is
know that
4:30?
it's going to happen. And at this point, we're at 4:30 unless we hear something from the selectmen's office that no, it should be 4, or no, it should be 4:45 or whatever. and we'll be flexible.
Dave?
Yes.
And this is very unlikely, but in the event that in the midst, because it sounds like you've got a pretty good-sized collection going of old flags, if by any chance a really old flag shows up because somebody's cleaning out their attic, could somebody vet that and pull it out? Because it's,
Right.
even if it's not in great condition, it would be a very,
Yeah,
could be a very
I will
valuable thing.
send an email to the person who's doing it for Harrison, the fellow who's doing it for Cherry Wood, and I will tell them that when they do the final collection, that we want to go through them before they leave.
Well, particularly anything that's prior to.
Oh, I think it's a great
20th
idea.
century.
Yeah, 'cause you might find some numbered flag that we don't have one of someplace,
Where
okay?
did you say, the post office, the VFW?
And Town Hall.
Town hall is downstairs on the lower
Downstairs,
level.
In the lower level.
You know, well, and also, Dave, for anybody who's listening, we also have a box to receive flags on Flag Day itself at the ceremony.
That's correct.
And
So
every
you can
year,
bring them to
we've
the
gotten a
ceremony.
lot of people who've waited, so we do collect them that day as well.
And we do need people to read different parts on Flag Day because there's like 14 different parts, one-liners, but, you know, that have to be read. So the more people we can get from this commission and from the town to come, the better. All right, we encourage that. Before we get to Memorial Day Parade ceremony committees, I'm just going to just interject with a couple different things here. There is a display on, and I'm blowing my own horn because I curated it, but there is a display on, since this is Memorial Day month, on World War I that is up at the Darien Historical Society, which is excellent, and it's been very well received. We are, in conjunction with that, having at the Darien Historical Society a visit by an actual World War I ambulance that will occur on Saturday of this week, on the 18th. The program will start at 11. At noon, there will be a presentation to 5 longstanding members of first responders in the town. And we will be presenting proclamations from the first selectman and also a token from the Historical Society to recognize these 5 individuals from fire department, police department, EMS, and such. That'll be done at 12 noon. That'll be a ceremony. Then during all of this time, you are free to tour, to look at the ambulance and such that'll be there. It's beautiful. And also to look at the display that's on display in the barn at the Historical Society. This all ties in with Memorial Day weekend and things that we're doing here. At 2 o'clock that afternoon, there will be a program put on by the people that brought the ambulance. That will be a program that will talk about letters written home and such, and correspondence that was done by these ambulance operators and nurses and such back in the day, actual material and diaries. So feel free to come. There is a charge for that portion of the program, but all the first part of the program from 11 o'clock until then is free to the public. And so we'd be more than happy to have you come and join us. And in keeping with the spirit of Memorial Day and also of memorials in general, you all know that Veterans Park in downtown Stamford is being worked on. It's being improved. It's being finished. It hasn't been finished yet, so they're bringing it back to life. A young individual named Lisa Melfi out of Stamford is going to put on a program called Rock Out for the Red, White, and Blue. And this Rock Out for the Red, White, and Blue is going to be on May 19th, which just happens to be, by the way, the rain date for the May 18th program at the Historical Society, just so you know. So anyway, this is the first annual Rock Out for the Red, White, and Blue. Be a part of the Rock Out. They have a motorcycle ride that starts at Sherwood Island, goes down through Westport to Stamford, and ends up at the Palace Theater in Stamford. And that's at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can contact me if you'd like the information on it. Then the benefit concert to support Connecticut veterans and a Veterans Park downtown in Stamford. And just as a good neighbor policy, I just decided I would mention this today. That's Sunday, May 19th. The door opens at 2 p.m. This is an all-ages show. All right, there'll be food, there'll be raffles, there'll be silent auctions, all these different things. There'll be magicians floating around the theater. quite a few sponsorships from local businesses and such. I just think if you're interested, once again, it's Rock Out for the Red, White, and Blue. You can go to palacestanford.org for tickets to it. The tickets are like $19, and it's basically a donation. So, I've gotten my public service announcements out of the way. Let's talk about the Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony. So I say we, which is like a joke, because the person who did all the work on this, the one who's kind of doing all the heavy lifting, is Terry Gaffney, because he's the parade chairman. And he has put together, been trying to tie up all the loose ends and such so we get a good parade going. And there's already been a couple of notifications that have gone out to participants. There will be one more, at least, notation going out that tells them where they will be in the line of march. For the benefit of anybody listening, I'm going to tell you right now that this is lines of march are in constant flux. You don't always hold your same position in line, so because of different vehicles being added and such, we may have to move you to a different place and in line. You will be notified of where that will be, and trust me, it's all for the common good. It's just a logistical problem. I want to remind everybody who's participating in the parade to park in the proper place. There will be no parking on site at the Good Wives where we stage for the parade. You must park over on Mechanic Street at that parking lot or someplace else, or drop off your participants, and then you have to pull away. You can't stay there and take up space in the parking lot, because we are very limited because we have so many participants in this program.
And also shoppers.
And also shoppers, and the stores are still open, and we have to respect that. So there are some lanes that are left open for shoppers. I do want to mention two things where I need your help as a commission, and anybody who's not on the commission who wants to help, that's fine too. We need some people to take over divisions or to be responsible for divisions on the day of the parade. Okay, and Terry can give you more information about what that entails. But basically it entails you being the one who's checking in that particular division of the parade. There's 5 divisions, all right? And when, 5?
It's 4 or 5.
4 or 5, okay. So we need some warm bodies that can walk along with the parade, participate in that way, and basically you have a division that you're in charge of. So if you were willing to volunteer to do that, you can talk to Terry, and he will tell you exactly what you need to do and where he can use you. This is something that we really, really do need. So we need at least 4 people, 5 people to do that, to help us out so that we can check the groups in and get them lined up properly in the Good Wives shopping center. So please, dig down and figure out if you're going to be there and see the parade anyway, you may as well be part of it, all right, and march along with everybody who's there. We also need, and this is my second and last plea for actually second of 3 pleas, we also need people on the 26th at the end of the day, perhaps after the ceremony for the sign, later on that afternoon, to actually put up these large numbers that go throughout and line up everybody in the Good Wives Shopping Center. So we have, I already went out and I got the 36-inch zip ties to put them on the tree. We already know how many signs we have to put out. We will pull all that stuff out of the storage room downstairs and have it available. We have to put those on, what time, around 5 o'clock or something?
Well, we did it last year at 5 o'clock, but I'm just wondering if there are certain people with a van who get up early in the morning who might want to do it at 7:30, 8 o'clock day of instead, because
I don't know. You're going to have, the other thing you have on 7:30 the day of is we have to put the bunting up in the cemetery.
Right.
The 3 things we have to do. We need the walkers to take care of the division. We need somebody to help put up the signs in the parking lot. So,
and most critically, and take them down.
and take them down, right. And then we need commissioners to show up at Spring Grove Veterans Cemetery. Usually we do that at 7:30 in the morning to put up the bunting on the stand that we use, that is put up by Parks and Rec. So we need people in 2 places at once if we do it on 7:30 in the
Yeah,
morning.
so we'll stick with the night before.
I would
Because
say
I know
stick
who the
with the
guy,
night before.
I know who the guy who does both ends is.
No, stick with the night before. What, 5 o'clock do you want to be there?
Yeah, 5 o'clock, later is better.
Okay.
You know, why have them out there for attractive nuisance for
Do you want to do it at 6
knuckleheads?
o'clock? Pick a time.
6 o'clock would be
6
better.
o'clock, if you can be there, we will be there. We will
Can
have,
you put that?
yeah, we'll have the van, we'll have the materials there, we'll have all the signs there, we'll have all of the zip ties, we'll have.
Yeah, it's
something.
about 15 minutes.
Takes
of
about
work.
15 minutes, once you figure it out. We put 2 sets of signs in each row, and there's like 5 rows across. So it should be done that way. So keep those things in mind. If you're
And I could.
walkers,
Bunch
okay,
of
we need
them.
people to take care of a division. And then, you know, it's interesting that we had people that took care of these divisions years ago, and unfortunately, a lot of them have passed on. You know, Ed Carabillo was a godsend because he always took care of the division that had all
So
the
did
military in it. And then Chick was another one that did it and everything. So some, as they've aged out, we need to replace them with young legs.
The tasks are really very simple.
Right.
Yes.
You're going to get 18 people who are going to ask you, where should I stand? So you have to have the map. The only challenging part to it are parents who are unaware of any humans other than their child.
Right.
That's the only issue. Well, I'm just standing here for my daughter. Well, you can't stand here. So you have to find a nice way to move the parents along. That's the hardest job.
Yeah, when he's talking about standing, he's talking about standing there with their
Parking.
car.
Yeah.
Parking.
There's no parking.
Because it's a safety issue. We cannot have people running in and out of cars
Can't-
and parking
can't block the
cars
lanes.
in the only egress point. Other than that, you have to be hale and hearty enough to walk the 1.25 miles in the parade, because your responsibility is to ensure that at least the front of your division is keeping up with the back of the division in front of you. And that's it.
And that's generally, are you sort of air traffic controlling,
Precisely.
coaching? Okay.
There will
sounds
be a
good.
police presence there, and they take
Yeah.
care of most of the ingress and egress to the parking lot and such, and they move along, and they're very good. They're the best. The parking people that we have from the police department, they've done this before, and it's not their first. But we do need the assistance from everybody else, okay, especially on the gate and all that.
Point of order about the people wanting to have their dogs walk in the parade.
Dogs
No
are not
pets.
allowed in the
I
parade.
know, I know.
No-
They-
no pets.
No one ever knows it.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna make an announcement now to everybody that's listening out there in TV land. There are no pets allowed in the parade.
Yeah,
So do not bring your dog and have your dog walking in a parade, or cat or anything,
Or sitting on the sunny side of the sidewalk.
Right,
I know, hands.
right,
Yeah.
panting.
yeah.
Okay, so we've covered division leaders, hopefully. We've covered putting up the signs on Sunday afternoon, and it's just something you have to know we're going to do. I mean, these are things we do. And then at 7:30 or thereabouts on the morning of Memorial Day, we will be putting up the bunting on the big platform and also on the platform out front.
We're also going to potentially need the help of somebody to carry the chair for our speaker, for our grand marshal, from the reviewing stand to the
Right,
cemetery
we need a
platform.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Will that fit in the back of the police van?
You just need, no, anybody who can lift 20 pounds,
You know what?
18 pounds can just carry it over. It's not a big deal.
I
Don't need a
wondered
vehicle.
about a vehicle transporting her from that
Yeah,
reviewing
you have to
stand to
have-
the cemetery.
You have to have a vehicle to transport her from the
Okay.
viewing stand up.
Go
Has to
that
be,
way.
she can't walk.
A police
All
car
right.
could back up.
All right, well, it's the same weight as these chairs that we're sitting in.
Oh,
It's not a big deal.
okay.
But we need somebody to take her.
Yes,
up.
okay.
That's
I'll
not
take
gonna
her.
happen, okay, up in a car.
But they need to take a car.
So the question I have,
Yeah.
our speaker, Matt Pavia, do we
Mhm.
know if he wants to walk or ride?
He's
He
gonna-
doesn't.
He doesn't
wants-
wanna walk, he's
He
gonna.
wants to meet us at the
He'll meet
ceremony.
us
So
at the
it's
ceremony.
neither, he's not walking
You don't
or
have to work
riding.
on it.
No.
Right.
Okay.
And I just finished his book yesterday.
Good book.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
So I know you mentioned it, but I want to reiterate that we actually have more organizations marching this year. A lot of people said yes this year.
Good.
And several of them have more cars than they thought. I think we're very lucky to get the City of Bridgeport Veterans Affairs contingent is coming with a bus of veterans, some who are disabled, so they'll be involved. And as you mentioned, because of the number of vehicles, just based on the physical footprint of where we shape up, certain organizations will not be where they were last year. Just
Right.
based on the logistics of, I've got to put a bus there, I've got to put a car with a trailer there. So I have not finalized the line of march yet.
Right.
Everyone who has said yes has gotten the mailer with the, this is what to expect. But the line of march, I don't anticipate having that done till the end of this week.
Okay, I mean, and you have, and they'll get this, they'll get the map and they'll get this
Right.
other stuff. This is what you also will have if you're a walker, if you're taking a division. You'll get a lineup sheet like this, and this also tells you to line up in another form. So that, we have that. I understand that, for better or for worse, Stamford is not having a Memorial Day parade this year, okay? So that was sort of disappointing for them and for a lot of the people down there, and I understand that. But we did get a little bit of spillover from at least one of the units that normally would march down in that parade. So you have that group also, right?
Yes, and you know, if there are people outside of Darien who had been planning on marching in Stamford who have a penchant to march, the contact information is Memorial, what is it? What's the exact email address?
Is it 06812 then Memorial or no? Which is the thing?
I can turn my computer on. Do you have it there?
I don't think so.
Look at my phone.
That's funny.
Here, whoops. Here's the directions.
No, anyway.
I don't
So if they
send
want to
emails
do it, they can
myself.
contact the selectmen's
They don't
office,
send emails, period.
and then they'll get in touch with you. So anybody who wants to, who's out there in
It's
TV land,
06820, MAYparade@gmail.com.
Okay.
okay. So, as far as the actual ceremony in the cemetery goes, or, well, the reviewing stand will be where it normally is. The chair will be there for the Grand Marshal. There will be a color guard of a Boy Scout and a Girl Scout there, I'm assuming. And there will also be a color guard of a boy and a Girl Scout at the main dais, main platform. We have now all the names of everybody who's going to read the Boy Scout and Girl Scout parts, the
Do you have the?
General Logan's
their
order.
troop numbers? You have
Yeah.
the troop?
Yeah,
Okay.
General Logan's order will be read by a Boy Scout, and the Gettysburg Address will be read by a Girl Scout. We have all that information. There will be a program that will be a simple program. It'll just have the normal thing that we have on the back of the program, which is a listing of all the war dead from Darien, a little bit of an explanation of what Memorial Day is. And on the front side will be the listing of everybody who's going to speak or has a major part. The invocation and benediction will be done by Reverend Monsignor Cirillo. We have the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts doing their part. The essay contest winner or the poetry contest winner will also be listed. All right, and I'll shoot you this once it's roughed out the next day.
So
All
I
right.
just gave Ken and Sue Ann
Right.
copies. We got, and I didn't see Lucy sneak out, but, you know, kudos to Lucy because she's the one who organizes it at the middle school. We had 23 submissions this year, and I'm going to suggest, since that 21 of them are poems and only 2 are essays, that we only give out 1 winner this year.
One?
To pick between 2 essays is,
Right.
Okay.
yeah. So, and if anybody else wants to join our little group, I've got one other copy here of the 23, if anyone is so.
Yeah, if there's anybody else who'd like to read the submissions and opine about which you think are the best, you don't want to do that because...
All the names have been removed, so that if there's somebody you
Right.
love or hate in town, you won't know it's their son or daughter. It's about an hour and 10 minutes
Oh,
worth
you're
of
really
reading.
interested in this, yeah, thank you.
And your contact for that is Terry. Everything goes back to Terry. All right. So the invocation is taken care of. I'll do the introductions. Obviously, the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by the Grand Marshal, and we'll all stand for that. The National Anthem, Darien High School tutor singers are locked up for that. Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, we'll have the Girl Scouts do it. General Logan's Order, number 11, will be read by a Boy Scout. In there somewhere, right around there, we'll have somebody read. If the child is available, we would like the child to read his or her poem, all right, or essay, whatever comes out to be. I'll slip that in there.
It's not gonna be
Right. The names of the Darien men killed in the wars, Jamie Stevenson will again read them. All right, and we did lose 8 in World War I, which this is the 100th anniversary of basically Treaty of Versailles, not the end of the war, because that happened last year. It's also a big 50 in the Vietnam War. So there's a lot of things going on here. But anyway, she will read them. Now, the bell is coming from...
Already been notified. They will bring it.
And the lectern from
I
the...
will pick that up.
Okay, so
and deliver
you'll
it.
take care of those, that's fine.
Neuron Heights.
Neuron Heights, yes, for Bell. America the Beautiful, also by the Tudor Singers. Then our speaker, which was Matt Pavia. Excellent book, if you haven't read it, outstanding. And as I'm reading through the book, America, a small town in the Vietnam War and all that, it's fascinating the way they've interwoven the history of the town and the area and what was going on in the world through this thing. It was a great book. And as I'm reading through the book, I'm hitting all these people that I know, that are in the book. And we lost 6 in Vietnam out of Darien. They lost 29 out of Stanford. 29. Just a really good book, well written by Tony Pavia and his son Matt. The presentation of the memorial wreaths will then occur. We will have
I
that.
ordered the wreath.
She ordered the wreath, okay. The military salute, I did check with the Darien VFW Honor Guard, and they will be there to fire the salute. Taps will be done once again by a member of or members of the Darien High School Band. I've already been in contact with Jonathan, and he has guaranteed me at least 1, maybe 2. If they get 2, to do echo taps, which is actually pretty cool.
The name from him.
Yeah, he'll have to send us the names. Anthony Montemuro, our longtime bugler from the VFW, is moving to North Carolina, so it'll be tough for him to do it. If you're interested in things of that nature and you're in a traveling mood, this weekend up in Rhode Island, they're having what they call echo taps. They have 100 buglers, and they just do this thing where they echo, they do the whole thing in echo taps. It's part of a group called Bugles Across America. It's amazing, just insane. They're doing it at a ceremony up there for Memorial Day. Then a prayer of benediction will be given. We should be in good shape as far as the ceremony goes. If it does rain, Alan Gray has assured me that we can have the library. He will set the library up. Therefore, the library group should be moved to the front. We already spoke about that, so they can get out and they can go do what they have to do. I don't think we're forgetting anything else. It's been a long time.
Just one other thing,
Yep.
because people do ask. In the event of rain, what happens? This is for the people who are marching.
Mhm.
If it's raining, the troops were not given the benefit of not getting to work, and so neither are marchers. Rain or shine, the parade goes on. Only if there is threat of life and limb will there be consideration for canceling.
Right, and that final decision will be made on that day if something is is a problem between Terry and the First Selectman. They will make the call on that, on the parade itself. But as of now, we are 100% we're going because, as Terry said, troops who fought in the wars fought in all types of weather, hot, cold, wet, freezing ice, snow. And unless it's really a life-threatening situation, we are going out. We always have, and we will continue to do so. Is there anything else anybody has? Oh, the flyover. Flyover's been okayed, all right. It's, my understanding is it will be a rather large plane, therefore it'll make a lot of noise, so when you hear that noise
I
coming.
mentioned it in the publicity.
I did, I know. When you hear that noise coming, mothers and fathers and children and everybody else, that's what it is. And when they come down, especially if there's a low ceiling and they come down pretty low,
Yes.
you're gonna know they're there, all right? The C-130 that came over with
Yeah.
last year and everything else, I thought it was gonna take me off the ground, okay? That was just unbelievable. So I think it'll be the same thing again this year. Be ready for it.
Low and.
Usually happens between 10:30 and 11, someplace in that
Yes.
ballpark, because they come down and they hit all the towns as they come, not figuratively,
But
they figuratively hit all the
It
towns.
won't
all over.
happen if it's cloudy. or-
If it's too cloudy, they won't do it, right?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
In the very unlikely event that the weather is so dangerous that the parade can't be held, is it, pardon me, is it postponed or canceled?
It's canceled. It's canceled. If we cancel, if it's done, it's done. We don't have another day to do
Oh,
it,
good.
because
No, that's-
we'd have to get the permits and everything else and all that stuff again.
I agree.
So if in
There's no postponing it. so
no,
that's-
if in the extreme
It's another reason
situation
to hold.
whereby we don't have the parade, okay, or whatever, we will meet at the library for the ceremony approximately 11 or between 11:15 thereabouts or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's true, that should be. In the unlikely event that the
Right.
parade is canceled, the ceremony will still go on.
Right.
But it will be indoors.
Indoors at the library.
library.
And it may be anyway if it's,
Yeah.
Yes.
Did I forget anything, guys?
I have a question for Terry.
Yes.
The parking lot, Goodwives, as of last year, you say you have 4 or 5 people for division, or what about the people on the ground directing?
We need at least 3 other bodies up front to check people in, because even though the signs are right there, shopping, parking, parade, people don't read English.
Okay.
Where do I go?
Yeah, so usually right at the entrance,
So those people
right at
just
We
the,
need
stay
people
there the
right
whole
at the
time?
right at
and
the
just-
entrance, just past the
So they don't
flagpole that's
walk,
there,
they just-
right there at that entrance, you'll see the signs, and we do need people there.
Yeah, we have sawhorses with large signs that
Right.
should be readable, but apparently are not.
But sometimes they have to go up to somebody and tell them.
Right.
So you'll have one of these maps, and you'll be able to tell them.
they don't mean.
Okay.
I'll do a division if you want me to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So here's what I would really be happy to have. I'm not gonna put anybody on the spot now, but anybody who is going to help Terry out at Goodwives, please contact Terry via email. Go directly to him and let him know what you're gonna do, so that Terry has an idea of what's gonna happen. I will be in the cemetery, okay? And, getting that squared away and watching that end of the show. I'll probably come down to the reviewing stand, which I usually do, and stand there until the parade's at the end. But we need people in there, so if you're gonna help, and you're gonna be a division leader, or you're gonna be at the gate, or you're gonna work in any way, place, shape, manner, or form, please tell Terry that you're gonna do that. As far as putting the bunting up on the platform in the cemetery, I'm gonna prevail upon a couple of friends of mine who have done it the last couple of years and helped me out, a couple of veterans like Jeff Freight and Jim Baker and a couple of the other guys, roust them out early in the morning. But we'll need anybody who wants to lend a hand here, because many hands make light the work, as my old pastor Ron Evans used to say. So there you go. Anything else?
Harry, what is your email, just in case anybody needs to contact you for anything?
Well, let's use the Memorial Day Parade email address
Okay.
rather than mine.
Yes.
06820 May Parade, as in the month of May, at gmail.com. And if you write it down and can't read your own writing, you've got my personal email through the minutes that go out. But better off in the parade email.
I interviewed Pat Parlett several times because she doesn't have a computer, so we went back and forth.
Right.
And her write-up has been in, but not her pictures, which will be in
Which will be in.
the Times.
Sweet.
But they've already been in other ones. And Pavia and a picture have also been in, I think, Patch and another one. And I did a monument for the Darien Times, too, for that section that they do. They have a whole Memorial Day veteran section for that weekend.
Okay. Let me just mention one more thing, and I hate to have to reiterate it all the time, but you have to. This is a parade that is supposed to be, because it's Memorial Day, a solemn procession to the cemetery. That's what it was supposed to be according to General Logan's order. Now, we don't act as a total damper, okay, on it and try to, pull everybody back in and make them not, have any exuberance or anything else. But the point is that it's a solemn procession to a cemetery. It's a Memorial Day. It's not July 4th. All right. So one of the things we'd like people to remember that is keep that in mind. Please don't hand out anything along the parade route. Please don't throw anything into the parade route where people are going to run off from the curb and try to get it, like candies and things of that nature. Please don't dispense anything or distribute anything, and obviously do not be political. This is not a political event. We do not allow that to happen in this town. We don't proselytize for anything on this particular day. Especially since, as Terry has mentioned, we have many more vehicles and people that may be driving in the parade for the first time or whatever, and in a large group. We want to make sure that the people along the sidelines are safe. So we don't want anybody darting out to get something that might be tossed or thrown, and that's why we do this. We don't do it to be, party poopers or anything else. We're doing this for a reason. But it's a liability issue, and we just want you to help us out as best you can. Control your animals and stuff if you bring them to the parade, which is fine, and control your children and everybody else for that matter. Try to realize what we're there for and enjoy the parade, which is always wonderful. It's one of the best in Connecticut. There is no question in my mind. And then please come to the ceremony at the end so that you can hear the speaker and also go through the whole ceremony, which is what this day is all about. Okay?
Dave, can I make
Yeah.
one other suggestion? This goes back to when I was running a division and that sort of thing. If you lead your division through the parade, you have no idea what's going on in your division. And where we have gotten raggedy and snaggedy in the past is if one of the participating groups, and we've got some new ones this year, decides to stop and put it on a demonstration of what their skill is in the middle of the parade, and the whole damn thing behind them stops.
Exactly.
The front part keeps going, and you get one of these things, and the person responsible for that division is gone.
Right.
So to kind of work back and forth and make sure that your whole division stays together during the parade.
Would it be better to have a front and a back to each division?
Yeah, it would be
Well,
great
I
if
don't
we
think
had
we
the
got enough
people.
We don't have the personnel for
So the
that.
back of the next division looks back at yours or something?
Well, however you want to do it, but I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I like the idea of
somebody-
moving back and forth.
somebody
And-
needs to be able to
And
do
it's
that.
basically the divisions with a lot of kids.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, I
Shorter
remember
legs.
at one point we had the Special Olympics,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it was tough to move
Yeah.
them. You're right.
and many of them couldn't walk that distance.
Right.
And they had nobody in charge of them, nobody caring for them, and it was a hell of a mess.
Yeah. The same thing is true, by the way, I've had a number of people who volunteered cars who have told me they're flexible because you never know until the day of if this group has 6 or 16 elderly people
Right.
who
Right.
need a ride. So
Right.
we do have cars that we shuttle back, and your daughter's probably going to be one of them, since we changed the Grand Marshal vehicle.
So what do you want her to do? Because the only problem is her husband's working. So she has Troy. That was the problem, that and the height of the Jeep.
Well, the Grand Marshal is going to be in a special vehicle this year.
Yes. Yep.
By
And,
her
that was
request.
by her request.
Okay.
So, just to wrap it up and to use common sense, the people who are in charge of the divisions, and anybody who's working as a parade official, we have hats that say parade official, okay? There's no question. I think we even have armbands and stuff and everything else. You are in the position of authority that day, so you have to pretty much regulate things. If it's something that is a behavior that you think shouldn't be happening, then you got to go over and say something, that's all. So don't be ashamed to do it. Yeah, Terry.
One more little note. At the cemetery, 15 minutes prior to the ceremony, I do a brief 6-minute, 7-minute max mini tour of the cemetery that the presentation is aimed at children so that they can understand who, what, when, where, how is going on at the cemetery. So anyone who's listening who is bringing children, I would encourage you to be there in time to allow your children to ingest and digest what's going
Absolutely.
on.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good point, and it's always been enjoyed by the kids that have taken part of it, even, and the adults that have taken part in it, involved in it also. Okay, is there anything else that, to come before the commission at this point? Okay, if not, I will.
Move we adjourn.
Hold on. You're carabilloing. Our late great guy, Eddie, used to always be the one who would say, "I move we adjourn." And so
Yes.
sometimes we use that term now. It's called carabilloing. And we've got a carabillo from Ken and a follow-up to that.
Second that.
Suzanne, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, yeah. All right, guys,
Anybody
thank you
opposed,
very
stay
much.
here.
I wanna